The film opens with a Looney Tunes-style cartoon called Me and My Shadow. It depicts Arthur Fleck Joaquin Phoenix basking in his newfound adoration as Joker. He goes to his dressing room, where his shadow comes to life and tries to take over his identity. The shadow goes on stage and performs as Arthur before he merges back with his shadow. Police officers then show up to beat Arthur senseless. Arthur has spent the last 2 years in Arkham Asylum after his live murder of Murray Franklin, as well as the 3 men on the subway and his former co-worker Randall. He is abused by the guards.
Fancy lawyer blaming me if you're late. Why didn't you tell me the dog was Catholic?
Arthur sees his lawyer, Mary Ann Stewart, along with his social worker, Deborah Kane. They believe that Arthur has a split personality disorder and that Joker is responsible for the murders. Arthur has also had a TV movie made about his crimes, and he has earned a few followers and admirers.
The guard said you wanted to show me how to kiss. But they said Joker's a really good kisser.
Including fellow inmate Harleen Lee Quinzel. During a musical therapy session, Arthur finds he is mutually attracted to Lee.
Wait, look, I don't know it. Okay? Okay.
He approaches her, and she tells him that she is there for setting fire to her parents' apartment building. Lee appears to share Arthur's morbid sense of humor, and she expresses interest in him after witnessing him kill Murray on his show.
Knock, knock. Your dad was killed in a car accident.
Arthur rejoins the group as they watch a news report in which District Attorney Harvey Dent is hoping to prosecute Arthur for his murders and wants to charge him with the death penalty. When asked how this makes him feel, Arthur imagines himself singing For Once in My Life, as a result of his newfound attraction to Lee. In the middle of things, Lee lights a fire, which quickly spreads through the room and causes everyone to run and scatter. Lee just approaches Arthur and kisses him. She and Arthur run outside of Arkham, attempting to escape and nearly succeeding until they reach the gates and are pulled back by the guards. Arthur wakes up to find Lee in his cell. She tells him that she is being sent home because her relationship with him. Lee says she will be at his trial every day and wait for him when he gets out. The next day, Mary Ann accompanies Arthur as he is set to do a televised interview with Paddy Myers, where he hopes to get Joker to come out, while Mary Ann insists that Arthur only be referred to by his own name.
Arthur Fleck, the Joker, committed 5 horrific murders.
Paddy also brings up the news report of Arthur and Lee's romantic escape attempt. Arthur starts singing Bewitched, which everyone at Arkham watches. Lee watches on the streets with a crowd outside a TV store. And she breaks the glass and steals a small TV. Arthur's trial soon begins with hundreds of fans gathered to witness, including Lee standing outside the courthouse. Dr. Victor Liu speaks on his beliefs that Arthur is faking his mental illness and committed the murders on his own accord.
Self-centeredness, friendlessness, and...
Mary Ann gives her argument defending Arthur's case. After the day is done, Lee tries to argue with Mary Ann that they are keeping her as far from Arthur as possible. Mary Ann approaches Arthur in his cell and tells him that all the stuff that Lee said about her past, that she's poor, her father's dead, etc. is all a lie. Mary Ann warns Arthur that Lee is playing him for a fool, but he just has another musical fantasy about the two of them, which ends with Lee shooting Joker in the stomach.
Let's give the people what they want.
Is the honeymoon over?
Lee visits Arthur at Arkham. He asks her if she really was lying to him, and she just tries to turn Mary Ann's words back on her, as if she were the one trying to manipulate Arthur.
I'm nobody. I haven't done anything with my life like you have.
Lee also tells Arthur that she is pregnant, and he is elated. During the next day of the trial, a testimony is given by Sophie Dumond, Arthur's former neighbor that he was infatuated with. She recounts the creepy encounters that she had with him, as well as the harassment she received from Arthur's followers and press wanting to ask her about her involvement with him. Sophie also brings up how she used to talk to his mother Penny, recounting the things that she told Sophie about Arthur's failed aspirations as a comedian. Arthur cuts off Sophie's testimony to fire Mary Ann and represent himself, which his supporters cheer for.
Can't do this anymore.
Your Honor, may I approach the bench, please? I'd like to represent myself. You're fired.
Judge Rothwax reluctantly allows Arthur to represent himself while in his Joker makeup and suit. The next testimony is given by Arthur's former co-worker, Gary Puddles, who witnessed Arthur's horrific murder of Randall. The incident not only traumatized Gary so much that it affected his work and sleep, but he was also shocked because Arthur was the only person at work who was ever kind to him.
The person who you saw stab Randall Kleimanhofer to death, describe his clothing.
Wearing a red suit and clown makeup.
Arthur gives an impassioned rant about how he is not letting his tormentors keep him down, and that he feels free as Joker. Arthur returns to Arkham and is beaten and raped by Jackie and 2 other guards since he insulted them during his rant.
Come on. You want to hear a joke, right? You really think you're good? Fancy let's put a little bit of joy into this fucking place.
After being dragged back to his cell, a young inmate, Ricky Meline, starts singing for Arthur.
Oh, when the saints! Oh, when the saints!
Jackie goes to his cell and strangles Ricky to death, which Arthur overhears.
He's up, Jay. Let him go.
During the closing statements part of the trial, Arthur eventually admits to everyone that he no longer wants to be Joker, admitting he is just sad and tired of life.
There is no Joker. It's just me.
He also confesses to killing his mother by smothering her. Lee and various other followers quickly turn on Arthur and leave the courthouse in disgust.
Start a new life.
Arthur later leaves a voice message for Lee, where he sings to her one last time. The verdict is reached, and Arthur is deemed guilty on all counts of murder. He begins laughing maniacally, and a family member of one of the victims tries to attack Arthur, causing a frenzy.
Guilty as charged. Stop laughing, in the second.
A car bomb goes off, blowing a huge hole in the courthouse and burning half of Dent's face. Arthur starts to run out and is picked up by 2 Joker followers trying to sneak him away. Arthur ends up running out of the car and flees into the streets. He goes up the steps of his old apartment and finds Lee there. He tries to restart their romance, but she tells him they are done since she was only ever in love with the fantasy of Joker. She sings to him and leaves him alone before he is arrested. Arthur returns to Arkham and is told that he has a visitor. As he follows, an inmate that has been following Arthur's Joker persona approaches him to tell a joke.
What a disappointment.
When he gets to the punchline, he says, "You get what you fucking deserve." The inmate repeatedly stabs Arthur in the gut.
How about I get you what you fucking deserve?
He sees himself in one last musical number with Lee as he bleeds out and dies.
People say you're